Hello, Gabriel here. Just somebody asked me to talk about the state of the game, I guess. Issues like physics, career, DLC, location, DLC cars, sorry, location, and improvements. So here I am, doing such a video. And we'll just do some gameplay running in the background. So the first point of order is physics. Well, important to note that the Cody's lead dev has essentially said that they're happy with the rallycross physics because they got a lot of time to test with PETA. They're somewhat happy with the modern rally car physics because they had some time to test them with Chris Meek, who's got most of his driving experiences with modern cars. Then they say that the historic rally cars aren't in such a good place because the amount of time they got to test and all this sort of stuff. Like, they didn't get time, basically, he said. Now, my first comment on that would be, I'm very surprised that they're basing the success of their physics engine on the availability of professional drivers, particularly one who's driving in the WRC. I mean, how much free time do you think a guy like that has? I mean, that seems very strange to stake the success of your physics development on how much time you get to test with someone who has a rather full-time job. So yeah, he also alludes to how it feels like there's too much lateral grip, but that's kind of not the case. He says that it has to do with changing aspects of the dirt rally physics engine, which is in fact the same engine that they're using here. It's just that he says that the way that the car is interacting with the road is essentially making it feel like there's too much traction. So he also goes on to say that they're going to be testing in the future and, trying to change it, so watch this space. My thoughts about the career are, I mean, I'm fairly indifferent to it, actually. I mean, I think, yeah, I don't think the career is where it's kind of at for this game. I think the multiplayer and challenging people to stages and doing all the rallycross, I think that's more where this game is at, really. I mean, for me, that's true. I think it's difficult to make a career on a driving game that really, unless you're dealing with something like, I don't know, the BTCC, for example. It's something you can really kind of get. You can get into like a season, and feel like you're kind of on this big journey, this big career. I think that maybe would have been better if they'd kind of gone down that road, sort of, basically done something like the WRC, but just called it something different. Called it the really big championship or the international championship. I think extending it out would have been a better idea. Not too much to say about the career. I think it gives you a sense of progression, and you have to drive the different cars. I see it like one big tutorial, really. You start it's often it's easy, and then you move on, and it gets harder and harder, and then you can play against. You'll get better at the game for doing that. The person who asked me to make this video said he'd like me to comment on DLC cars. Well, basically they have to work within the confines of lots and lots of different licensing issues. So I saw an interview about this. Basically, imagine you take the two cars that I'd most love to see in this game, which is the 99 WRC season Super Impreza, and the Ford Focus. Every single sponsor that you can see on those vehicles, they have to find out if it's okay for them to put it in their game, which is apparently very difficult because some of them are very difficult to get to make contact with. So I feel for them on this topic. Basically, you know, they have to put in what we want, but they also actually have to be able to put it in. So, you know, it's no good saying to them, oh, why haven't you got the 99 Impreza in your game? Well, there might be a good reason why they went with the 2001 instead of the one that I want. Or it, you know, it's no good saying to them, why don't you have the 2010 I've seen this, people saying this, why don't you have the 2010 WRC cars in it? Well, they can't. They cannot do that. The FIA and WRC have got their own game, which they're basically saving that for. So, as for what cars I'd like to see in there, I'd love to see anything from the 99 WRC season, but, you know, I'm not really holding my breath. That would be my first point of order. Anything on beyond that is just a bonus. Here's me doing some spectacular driving in the background of this video, right into a tree. Something else that I'll add on top of this is damage model, just after I talk about locations. I'm not a huge fan of stage generator. I know all the turns now. I mean, you know, essentially what stage generator does is generate a stage from a given pool of tiles. You know, so imagine like you've got a puzzle, and the puzzle, every time you put press X, it kind of fits together the puzzle in a kind of like a different way, but, you know, you're always using the same pieces. So it does create some great stages, but I kind of remember like so much of it now. I think they need to make this pool like much bigger if they really want people to keep playing their game, based on the idea that people are going to play their game because of, you know, the huge amount of tracks that stage generator can create. So yeah, I think that's an issue. I hope they realise it soon. Also kind of disappointed that they weren't open about this while they were creating it in the first place. They didn't go, yes, it's infinite stages, but it's not infinite tiles. They were just like, oh yeah, you can play all the stages you like, and, you know, it's like it's going to go on forever and ever and ever, and, you know, we've got something like 10 trillion different varieties of stages. I think, well, yeah, you do, but using the same parts. You know, it's like saying, you know, there's 10 million ways to make a lasagna, but, you know, it's all the lasagna. You know, there's always going to be some, you know, there's only so many ways you can put lasagna together. I don't know if this is making any sense anymore. So anyway, I think it needs improving. As for locations, again, they're restricted by the FIA and the WRC. Some people are saying that they don't understand why you won't see like Safari in there, for example, or, you know, basically there's just some places that they're just not going to get the rights to even go near, like they can't go near Finland anymore, and stuff like that. So again, it's a licensing issue. Frankly, I'm not really concerned about which locations are in the game at the moment. I just want them to give more character and more parts to the puzzle to the locations that they do have, and then we can start talking about another locations. The last topic was improvements, but I think I've kind of covered that as we've gone through. So yeah, I think essentially this game at the moment is in a state of, you know, there's a lot to do. And the physics aren't perfect. Stage generator isn't perfect, but it's I'm still enjoying playing it. You know, I'm obviously not perfect at driving on it, and you know, I haven't dialed in all my setups. You know, I haven't driven every car. I haven't done all the things on the joyridey thing, the challenges or whatever. So I think there's potential for this game, and as I said in my first impressions video, I hope people are patient enough while they do more testing and the stage generator issues sort of come to light for them. So yeah, I hope somebody finds this interesting, and ciao.